quantity creates fucking quality, especially when you are the kind of person that gets stuck in perfectionism and needing to say the perfect thing, which again, I know 99% of the people that listen to this podcast are, because you're all overthinkers like me.
Welcome to Did I Stutter with Jill Perrick. And yeah, I probably did because I have a stuttering disability. But I'm also a multiple six-figure business and mindset coach who's here to help you shut down the mindfuckery of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and playing the nice girl in your content so you and your brand can blow the fuck up and so you can stack the motherfucking cash. I'm holding absolutely nothing back. We're talking marketing, messaging, mindset, subconscious healing, nervous system regulation, and how to do it all even with raging anxiety, ADHD, and just being a fucking human. If fuck is one of your favorite words and nothing can get in between you, your iced coffee, or the work that you're here to do, I'm your girl. Let's dive in.
Okay, y'all, coming at you for my daily walk, and I was just listening to the latest episode of Giggly Squad, which is my podcast of choice, and also Good Hang with Amy Poehler. I just love listening to them both. And actually, when I'm recording this, they just announced that they're going to have a scripted comedy show with Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo that is produced by Amy Poehler and some other chick who was on SNL. And I'm just so fucking excited for that. And also, I love that the girls on Giggly Squad, they started on Summer House, and everybody used to say that their podcast was fucking stupid. And everybody kind of chirped them and looked down on them. And you can always tell that I'm Canadian by how I use the word chirp. But everybody used to look down on them because of their podcasts and say that it was just this little podcast and they were just lazy girls. And also Paige dumped Craig from Southern Charm, and the Facebook boomers and Karens were all over her being like, he's the best thing that's ever happened to you. You were only successful because of him, which was so not fucking true. It was actually the other way around, I think. And she has been thriving ever since. And I just really love their career trajectory because I really think it's relatable to having an online business. It's really easy to feel like your business in the beginning is this small thing, especially when you're not really making a lot, or you're only making a couple $100s here. And honestly, even when I was making thousands, it still felt very intangible. And it still felt like something that was hard to explain. It still felt like it could go away at any second. And it was harder at that point because I didn't have a ton of evidence yet of it working for a long time. It was harder to explain to my family and to people that A, I don't want your opinion, but B, it was harder to not believe them when they had thoughts about, is this legitimate? Is this long-term? All of these kinds of thoughts that are it can be concern, but it also can really cause you to doubt yourself. And especially if you struggle with a lot of self-doubt, with a lot of overthinking about yourself as a coach in your business, if you struggle with imposter syndrome, it can really fucking derail your dreams to have people almost imply or infer that your business is small, or it's the small thing, or it's this hobby, right? So the girlies over at Giggly Squad, let their story of how they came up from a fucking reality TV show and are now completely thriving and growing these huge empires, let them show you that it might feel stupid in the beginning. It might feel small and silly in the beginning, but to keep fucking going, because you can actually create such a big, beautiful life and such a big, beautiful business if you just keep fucking going. And if you think it's important, then it is. And if you make it important to you, you will make so much fucking money. Because here's the thing. This is something that I have always done. It started in the very beginning when I used to create content from my cubicle. And I always talk about this, but I literally used to look over my shoulder to make sure that my supervisor couldn't see me tip-tapping on my Google Docs. And I would write captions and I would schedule content for that week or that month. There used to be a time, you guys, where I used to schedule content for a month. Isn't that insane? But I always treated it as so important, as like this work is very important. Even when it felt small, even when it felt silly, I did the stories, I did my posts, I went live, I did all of these things because it is fucking important. And if you treat it as if you have a big business, if you invest in yourself as if you have or you're going to have a big business, that's exactly what's going to happen. And this is actually a perfect segue for what I wanted to talk to y'all about today, because Ruthless is starting on Monday. And what the fuck is Ruthless? This is my 2-week content and capacity mini mind where you are going to be posting more. You're going to be saying the shit that feels edgy. You're going to feel like you're selling a lot. You're going to lean into being too damn much for these 2 weeks that we are going to be together in Ruthless. Like I said, you're going to sell every single day. And whenever my clients do this challenge, they are stretched in the best way possible, because the challenge is you have to post 2 times a day, a reel and a carousel, every single day. And you're going to do it for 2 weeks. And I'm going to be reviewing every single piece of your content. And we're going to be doing coaching on the self-belief and the sales part of it. Because one big aggressive visibility season can change the entire trajectory of your year. Last year, in like the beginning of the summer, I really entered a big visibility push. I started to go live more. I sold ruthlessly. I started posting 2 times a day. And I've been in this industry now for about 8 years, and even though I did schedule content, and I always have, I've always been very consistent. I only ever really posted once a day, and twice just felt like so much. It just felt like so much. I was like, can I actually do that? Blah, 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 blah. But I realized last year in the spring, like I had hit a ceiling and I really needed to get through the ceiling. And I was so used to being so comfortable in the cadence in which I was posting and how I sold and the words that I used and the offers I created and the titles that I created for them. Like I had an offer called the Iconic Coach back in April of last year, and then I was creating Story Slut in September. Like, those are 2 completely different things, right? And I'm not saying that creating something with the word iconic in it isn't good. It's just like I knew that there was a spicier bitch, a cuntier bitch behind the screen. And I was like, okay, if I were to really tap into like the best version of me, I would be leaning so hard into like the controversy, into my actual thoughts, into my actual beliefs and how I operate that actually leads to the results that I want. So again, I was realizing I was like hitting a ceiling, and it was also evident in the way that my like income had dipped. I wasn't making a ton of new sales. And I was like, okay, first of all, I need to sell way more. I need to be cuntier. I need to be more direct. I need to be more bold. I need to post more. So I changed on a cadence level, but then I also changed on an energetic level. Like, I really had to change the way that I was operating every single day. And I know you've all heard me talk about how I was depressed, and that did kind of like factor in, because I was like, I'm allowed to be depressed. I'm allowed to have the ebbs and flows of how I feel, but people aren't going to hire me if I show up without any passion or energy or excitement for the work that I'm doing. Like, and this isn't to say you can't be your authentic self. You can, but also think about the person who somebody is hiring. Is somebody really going to pay you thousands of dollars for you to sit there and say how much you hate yourself or how much you hate the world or whatever the fuck it is? The answer is no. And I had to kind of have that conversation with my ego and with the part of me that really enjoys being a victim, because there is a very shadowy part of me that loves being a victim, and I had to have multiple conversations with that victim-y side of me. Because sometimes she still comes out and I have to push her down and be like, shut up. Shut up. We're not doing this. We're not fucking doing this. And that was the first step, was me really being like, I could definitely do more. I could definitely do more. I could definitely move more. I could definitely take action more. And I could do it in a more spicy way, in a more bold way, in a more honest way, in a more truthful way, in the creativity that I was showing and how I was moving. I could be more. I could do more, and I could be too much again, because I was in a place where I was like, oh, I shouldn't send too many emails. I shouldn't post too often, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And it was reflected in the sales that I wasn't fucking making. So comfort is where businesses go to fucking die. If you feel comfortable and you are like, but I'm making the same sales, if you're happy with that, that's perfect. But if you're not, that's why you're here. Okay, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into a really big visibility season, and I ended up stacking over $230K in sales. I ended up signing clients that are with me for years now, not just months, but years, and I tripled what I was charging. I at first doubled what I was charging, and now since then I've tripled, and I started doing more. It all started with me deciding to post 2 times a day. And I started realizing I was really afraid of doing more work and if it was going to be tiring, but I actually was capable of so much more than I even realized. And when you're getting the sales and you're seeing the outcome, you're seeing the result of that, it makes it all fucking worth it. And that is the whole point of Ruthless. This will really set that foundation of capacity for you, because you know you can do more, but it's also not just about posting more. It's also about the content you are creating, the edges you're meeting every single day in your content, and how you can be too fucking much, how you can sound more like you, how you can be more ruthless, because that's who you really are deep down, but you're just afraid to be annoying. You're afraid that people are going to unsubscribe, they're going to unfollow you, but you're holding back. And I know that there's a spicy bitch inside of you that wants to come out, and she's going to come out in Ruthless. So we actually start on Monday, April 6th, so it's coming up. You can join for one payment of $888 or 2 weekly payments of $499. That link is in my show notes, or you can send me a DM at Your Coach Jill if you have questions, okay? And I was laughing to myself because, okay, first of all, I started this 10 minutes ago, but the whole reason of me talking about Ruthless is because I wrote this thread that was if your coach tells you to post less, fire them. And I love just dropping very clear statements on threads and then just leaving them before the people who drop in and they argue, because people don't know how to apply nuance to fucking anything in the internet. And obviously, nuance is there. It's inferred. I think I was also talking about that in Risk It All a couple of weeks ago, but nuance is always inferred, and the people that are arguing with you are either going to get triggered and pay you later on, or they're never going to pay you. So there's no use arguing with them, because all that's going to do is cause you to question yourself and question your own self-concept. But there have been lots of times where I've tried to engage in the comments and spent time trying to argue and make people see my point. But again, for me personally, this was threatening to my own self-trust and my own self-concept, because there truly are so many nuances and conversations around business, around content, around making money, and you need to stand firm in what you believe, and you need to follow and engage with people that are on your same wavelength when it comes to values and what they believe, because truly, if you believe something works, it's going to work for you. And everything has nuance, obviously, and that's fucking inferred. And on my thread where I said, like, if your coach tells you to post less, you need to fire them, this person commented, I've made more posting less. Okay, cool. Good for you. That's not what this conversation is. But then she also said quality beats quantity. And there was nothing I fucking disagree with more. And let me tell you why. Quantity actually creates quality, because the more you learn to post and share your thoughts and share your ideas and share your content, the more you will punch perfectionism in the fucking face. And that is what 99% of you listening to this podcast are struggling with, or have struggled with, or you've dealt with at some point in your business when it comes to showing up. Because if you believe that you need to get it fucking perfect, if you are being so fucking precious with your content and telling yourself, if I don't say it this way, or there is this perfect way to say this, or I saw this person say it this way and now I have to talk that way, blah, 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 fucking blah. You will spend all that time overthinking the fuck out of your content when you could have just written something and posted it. You could have created a reel and posted it. And I say that because I am this fucking person. I was that person that used to get so caught up in saying it perfectly. And if I'm not careful, sometimes that does happen. If I'm not careful, sometimes I will get wrapped up in this perfectionism trap. And then I know, okay, I need to like interrupt the flow. Like I need to go for a walk. I need to jump up and down. I need to do something that is going to interrupt this like analysis paralysis that goes on. And honestly, it's like a combination of like ADHD, OCD, all of the things, right? And sometimes I can get really perfectionisty, is that even a word, with my content. And how I really got through that, pushing the edge that I had, was posting 2 times a day, because I stopped being so precious with my content. I stopped believing that I could say the perfect thing and people were going to come and they were going to see that one thing I said that day. And instead it gave me so much creative freedom. Like I could say whatever the fuck I wanted, and I could say multiple things a day, and it could all contribute to somebody choosing to hire me. It could all contribute to the concept that I was trying to get across that day. And the most important thing is that I posted the content, because I look back on that time when I was like really starting to post 2 times a day. And there were a lot of days where it took me a while to figure out what I was going to post. Ruby is trying to get freaking comfortable here. Are we good? But there were lots of days where I would struggle with like, what the fuck else am I going to say today? And that is stretching your capacity. And the conversation that no one can have is the fact that like you should be uncomfortable 99% of the time inside of your business, because that means you're actually doing something fucking worthwhile, something that's actually moving the needle, something that is stretching you into the person who feels worthy and deserving of the money that you want to make. And the important thing is, of course, we're not just throwing fucking shit at the wall to throw shit at the wall. I know how to create converting content, and that is also what I'm helping you do too inside of Ruthless. Is like I am going to be reviewing your content, like every piece of content. And if that's something you choose to do, you can choose to submit your content or you can choose to not. It's totally up to you. But I am going to be available to review your content and tell you, this is what you could clean up. This is what's really good. This is what you could fix. These are the blind spots for you. And it is only so you can refine and get better. It is only so you can also show yourself that nothing bad is going to happen when you push your edges. So you can show yourself that you can say the honest thing, so you can tell the truth, so you can share your thoughts and your beliefs, and then you're just going to get up and do it again the next day. And that nothing needs to be fucking perfect. You just need to show up in an energy that shows your people that you are here to fucking help them, and that you have thought leadership, and that you are somebody worth paying thousands of dollars to. Okay? And as I said, I'm not just like posting random shit. I'm obviously selling, and I'm talking about concepts that relate to the work that I do. And when I show up more, people see my face more. And when they see my content and they read the words that I'm saying, they get closer and closer to working with me. There is no downside to posting more and being more visible. If anything, it is going to change your chemistry. It's going to change your energy. It's going to change the way you see posting for your personal brand. Quantity creates fucking quality, especially when you are the kind of person that gets stuck in perfectionism and needing to say the perfect thing, which again, I know 99% of the people that listen to this podcast are, because you're all overthinkers like me. And this is the cadence and the rhythm that I needed to learn how to follow, because for me, it was like posting less only made me spiral more. Only made me question like, okay, like the quality of this content isn't as good, and now I'm stressed because it's all riding on this. And that is why I sell relentlessly. That's why I show up and post multiple stories a day, because I have a lot to say. And I also am not going to apologize for ruthlessly selling my offers on my page via the channels that I use. Because if people don't want to be there, they don't fucking have to be. And I think about all the sales that I've made, all the clients I've signed, all the 5-figure cash months I've had since I had that little bit of an income dip last year, and I needed to get sales back up again. And how that one aggressive visibility season really was the catalyst to all of that happening again. And I'm not thinking about the days where I was stressed about a post and then didn't post it. Even when a post took me for fucking ever, I would post it because I was committed to posting 2 times a day. Even when I was doing a reel and I was like, this makes no fucking sense, I posted it anyways. And the sales happened anyways, even if it wasn't perfect. Because it's not about it being perfect. It's about being visible. It's about being consistent and letting that compound. And then you refine. And then you get better and better and better. That is how you're actually going to grow. And here's the thing too, because I need to wrap this up. But this is going to be really hard for you if you are not okay with being seen in the process. When you're not okay with being seen doing the thing. And this is something that I'm going to create a whole other post on, because I think it's relevant to this conversation. It probably can be a whole other podcast episode, being seen trying. And I've talked about this before, because I'm starting to think like, oh yeah, I've talked about like being seen trying, because it's the hardest thing for us. This is an edge I still push. Like being seen trying means being seen not always as an authority, making mistakes, falling, failing, flopping, and like being okay with that anyways. Being seen trying, if that is your biggest fear, that people are going to see that you aren't perfect, or that the things you say aren't always so deep and so perfect and so profound, you are going to be broke as fuck. But I had to get over that egoic part of me even last year, because I was like, you know what, I feel like I have built this big business and people expect a lot from me, and they think I have it all figured out. And then I had to really push that edge of being like, actually, I'm going to talk about my depression. I'm going to talk about how I kind of fell off. I'm going to talk about like how it was so hard to be consistent, even though I was. I'm going to talk about how it was really hard to sell because I just didn't feel like embodied in the things that I was saying. I'm going to talk about these client issues I was having, and it only attracted better people to me because they actually saw me and they saw a human who was trying, and it gave them permission to try and fail too, to try and just do the thing anyways. And that is what Ruthless is all about. And it is going to genuinely create a foundation for you of stretched capacity, of newfound capacity to be seen, trying to do more, to post more, to energetically change how you are showing up. You're going to start with Ruthless for those 2 weeks, and then it is going to carry into the rest of Q2 and hopefully into the rest of the year. So you can change the trajectory of your income this year. Okay. I'm done yapping. Join Ruthless at the link in my show notes. We start on Monday for 2 weeks, and we're hitting it fucking hard with the content. I'm so excited. If you have any questions at all, send me a DM on Instagram at Your Coach Jill.